All right, let's talk about your career for a second. You've got your nice-to-have skills, right? And then you've got the absolute deal breakers. Well, today we're diving into a skill that has totally jumped from one list to the other, typing. It's not a bonus anymore, folks. It's the baseline for pretty much every modern job out there.
I mean, this quote right here just says it all, doesn't it? And this comes straight from recruiters, the people who are actually making the hiring decisions. This isn't some exaggeration. It's the raw, unfiltered truth of the job market today. The race for your career, it doesn't really start with your diploma anymore. It starts the second your hands hit the keyboard.
So, when did this all happen, right? How did a skill that used to be kind of secondary, something you could just pick up along the way, suddenly become an absolute must-have? Let's really dig into how that big shift happened.
The old mindset was always, I'll get to it eventually. It was seen as this basic, almost trivial skill. Well, that era is completely over. Today, typing is a core competency. I'm talking on the same level as communication or critical thinking. It's basically the language of efficiency in our digital world. And listen, this is not just some fancy corporate trend. It is everywhere. We're talking government jobs, private sector jobs, the whole gig economy with online work and freelancing. The demand is just universal. It doesn't matter what field you're in, from data entry to project management. Your efficiency, your speed, it all starts right there at your fingertips. And this is kind of a hard truth, but it's an important one. Your degree, it'll get you in the door for the interview. It proves you're qualified on paper. But think about it. In a world full of online applications, timed digital tests, and super fast-paced communication, it's your typing skills that actually get you the job. It's really that simple.
Okay, so if typing is so darn critical, why do so many of us struggle with it? I mean, it's a skill we use every single day, but actually mastering it feels like it's a million miles away for a lot of people. So let's get real for a minute and talk about the common frustrations we all face when we're trying to get faster and more accurate.
Does any of this sound familiar? That super slow speed? The endless hitting of the backspace key? Your fingers getting all confused about where to go? And of course, constantly having to look down at the keyboard. Yeah, these are universal struggles. And they're so frustrating because they just make you feel inefficient. And almost always, they point back to one thing: a lack of consistent, focused practice.
But you know what? All of those issues are just symptoms. They're not the real disease. The biggest problem is that we wait. We treat typing like an afterthought, right? Some low-priority thing we can deal with later, until, boom, an exam or a job application forces our hand, and by then we're in full-on panic mode. And honestly, it's often too late.
But here's the good news. This is a totally fixable problem. You don't need some kind of innate talent to be a good typist. You just need the right strategy. So we're about to lay out a simple 5-step master plan. If you follow these steps, I guarantee you will see a real, tangible improvement in your typing. Okay, so here's the roadmap. First, we're going to start with a mental shift. Then, we'll focus on getting the foundation right. After that, it's all about building a consistent habit, practicing smart, and finally, learning how to measure our progress the right way. Let's break down each one of these. All right, step 1. This is all about your mindset. You have to stop telling yourself, oh, I'll learn it later. You need to start treating your typing practice with the exact same seriousness you'd give to any other critical skill or subject. This isn't a chore, it's training. Once you make that mental shift, you are officially on the path to real progress. Which brings us to step 2, and this tackles the biggest mistake almost everyone makes. We all chase speed right from day one, but here's the golden rule you have to remember. Typing fast but making a ton of mistakes is completely useless. Typing slow but getting it right, that's where real improvement is born. So focus on hitting the right keys every single time, even if it feels painfully slow at the beginning. And here's why that rule works so well. See, accuracy builds confidence. When you actually trust your fingers to hit the right keys, you stop second-guessing every move. You're not thinking anymore, you're just doing. And that confidence is what naturally, automatically leads to speed. Speed is a byproduct of accuracy. It's not the goal itself.
Okay, so once you've got that foundation of accuracy, we move to step 3, consistency. Typing is all about muscle memory, and the only way to build that is with short, focused, daily practice, not these crazy long cram sessions. We're just talking 30 to 40 minutes a day. That's it. It's enough to make a massive difference. And I want you to remember this. In typing, consistency is so much more powerful than talent. You don't have to be a natural. Someone who practices for just 30 minutes every single day will always outperform someone who practices for 3 hours but only does it once a week. Consistency is the real engine of improvement. Okay, on to step 4. What should you actually be typing? Forget those boring, meaningless lines of random words. You need to practice with content that's actually relevant to your life. Type out sentences you use at your job. Copy paragraphs from an article you're reading. Or, hey, even just type out your own thoughts for the day. When the content is familiar, your brain and your fingers just work together so much more naturally.
And finally, step 5. This one is all about getting your mindset right again. You have to stop comparing yourself to other people. Comparison is a motivation killer, it's just a trap. Instead, you need to track your own progress. The only person you should be competing against is the person you were last week. Focus on your own growth, and make sure you celebrate every single small improvement along the way.
So there you have it. You've seen the problem, and now you have the solution. The path forward is crystal clear. Now it all comes down to making a choice that's going to directly shape your career starting today. Look, let's just be blunt about it. The candidates who are putting in the practice time today are the ones who are going to be getting hired tomorrow. Ignoring this skill isn't just a passive thing, it's an active decision that has very real consequences for your future. The real key here is to change your perspective. Stop seeing it as a chore. This is an investment in your future. It's a skill that's going to pay you back in every single exam, every job application, and every day you're working in an office.
So it all comes down to this. The power to build a faster, more efficient, more successful career is literally at your fingertips. The question isn't whether or not you can do it. The only question is, when are you going to decide to start?